the IACA program on information security online program. So myself, Taposh Bandhavada, scientist from HTBC Kolkata office. So Mr. Bhilapandi has talked about the basic requirement of the standard ISMS 27001 and family requirement, and what are the requirements for getting implemented the standard requirement and the certification process. So now I will tell about the network security requirement. So whether this is visible to you? Hello participants, Mr. Naresh. Mr. Naresh. Hello, Mr. Naresh.
Yes.
This is visible, the slides?
It is visible, sir.
Okay, now I can
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay, please get me input. Okay, feedback. Okay, so network security, actually, if you see the requirement of the standard 27001, so there is a mandatory requirement, clause number 1 to 10, and annex control, there are 14 domains are there, A5 to A18. So I will blow up the requirement A13, the communication security, that is network security for ISMS requirement. As you know, the network is a very important aspects in implementing the ISMS in an organization, because we cannot do in isolated manner. We have to be connected somewhere within the organization, outside the organization, with client, with different stakeholders, to communicate all the policies, procedures, transactions are there. So that we need a network, either LAN or WAN or different types of network to do our business activity. So without network, we cannot survive in the organizational environment. So at the same time, so there are so many concerns are there, the security features are there. You have to implement those areas to strengthen the security of the network. So the objective is to ensure the protection of the information in networks and is supporting information processing facilities. So there are two concerns are there. When your information are residing in your systems or servers, the data at rest, and when the data is transmitting across the channel, different communication networks are there. So both way you have to ensure the security of your data either at rest or during transmission at different channels. So the security need is for protect the information against any unwanted access, so that any unauthorized person should not access your data or network. To safeguard the data from any inappropriate delay in a route followed to deliver it to the destination at the desired period of time. So that should be concerned. Otherwise, no use of that. Then to guard the data from any undesired amendment, that is very important. Though there, as you know, this security, it stand on the availability, integrity, and the confidentiality. So you need to assure the no unwanted persons access your data, and also you have to ensure that no unwanted modification or change of your data. So that is very important. You have to ensure the safety and security of the data. So to guard our hardware like hard disks, PCs, laptop from attack or malware, viruses, which can damage our systems by corrupting or deleting all the content stored within it. To protect our PCs from software which is installed can harm our system or hackers do. To safeguard our system from Trojan horses, different type of malware or viruses which can cause damage to our system. So we have to be concerned about that security of our systems. So this is the network security need. We need to have a network security, Wi-Fi, network, this access management is there, data loss preventions are there, endpoint securities are there. So there are so many concerns are there, and accordingly we have to depend on type of network, complexity, size, we have different competence level of the personnel working there in the organization. We have to decide on network pattern and the architecture. Actually, if you see in your normal practice in the organization, networks are both two types. One is the wired network through cable, and one is the wireless network that is through the air. So there are cables are there, UTP cables are there, that Cat5, Cat7 cables are there, that is running across the organization. for giving the LAN connectivity or any wire connectivity is there. And one type is there, the wired. These wireless connections are there through access points are there installed, so that it transmitted reduced signals and you getting the connectivity without much hazard of the cabling on the this. But both are the cases are there. I have their own benefit, the merits and demerits are there. We will talk about in detail. So wired and wireless networks, most of the network, the physical network layout diagram should be available for ISS implementation. You need to have the first the physical network layout diagram where the cable is passing in big organization. Different buildings are there, different locations are there, different departments are there. How the physical layering of the network, because you have to protect from physical damage, cutting or any unwanted or intentional cutting will be there. Cable harnessing and marking. So when there are switches are there, 24 ports are there, so many routes are there, the connections are there from building to building, different activity wise, server, desktops are there. So cable proper marking should be there. Concealed routing of cables to protect against accidental and intentional damage also there. When the cable is passing across the building, they should be properly encased. Even also if you go through the field, it should be underground and to a trench so that it not be easily damaged by any unwanted situation. Physical access control to the network rack. So whenever you keep these network devices like firewall, router, the load balancer, that should be in a protected area with a proper physical access control. And also proper functioning of the device, network devices. You need to have a temperature, humidity, power and cooling control in the room also. So these are the requirement to be implemented for the good operation in the system in the network devices. In wireless network, there are you might have heard that WPA, Wi-Fi protected access points are there. This is one of the security measures. Mostly new devices, modern devices, hardware devices like firewall and this router, they come out with the WPA facility. So this is encrypt information and checks to make sure that the network security key has not been modified. So these strong encryptions are there. Or WPA also authenticates users to help ensure that only authorized people can access the network. So WPA is designed to work with all wireless network adapters, but it is not work with the older routers and access. But there is some limitation there. So this is for new versions of the router, these facilities are available, WPA. So these are the physical diagram of the network devices. You find that why these firewalls are there, routers, internet connections are there, these wireless routers are there. So devices are there, so many connections are there in the organization. So first level for any organization, you need to have a architecture of the network diagram. That is first thing you have to have. First is the physical layout diagram, then network architecture diagram. Who are the ISPs, are the internet service providers are there, what are the network devices, what are the services running there. So that has to be a comprehensive architecture network, and that will give the indication whether the topology is correct, whether the connectivity is correct, is there, whether redundancy is there or not. That will indicate to the architecture diagram. And network security consists of the policies and practices adopted to prevent and monitor unauthorized access, misuse, modification, or denial of a computer network and network accessible resources. Network security involves the authorization of access to data in a network which is controlled by network administrator. Users choose or are assigned an user ID and passwords for their authenticating the devices. So these are the common network diagram. And if you see that how the data flow in a network, so internet is there, router is there, firewall is there, switch is there, multiple switch, backbone switches are there, depending on the size of the organization, and the individual devices there, servers are there, LANs are there. So this way, the data flows from the internet within the organization, outside the organization this way. So the goal of the network security is to that confidentiality, integrity, and availability. As I told in the initial definition by Mr. Vilapandi, also I can reiterate the confidentiality is not to disclose to the unauthorized person. So integrity is to maintain the accuracy of data. It is not unauthorized changes are there. And availability, you have to make the system available to the legitimate users, like whether website applicable or applications are there, that should be available to the authorized users for their purpose, business purpose. So these are three concerns are there: confidentiality for the disclosure, unwanted disclosure, integrity, making the accuracy of the data so that it's not unauthorizedly changed, and ability to make the system ready for the legitimate users. But with doing all things, you cannot be a say vulnerable say, or a attack free. So there are different situations of vulnerabilities, attacks are there. The common vulnerability that exists in both wired and wireless networks is an unauthorized access to a network. An attacker can connect his device to a network through user unsecure hub or switch port. Also, the physical level connectivity is there through rogue devices. If it discard the employee, or he can connect a device or IP and connect to his laptop to get the unauthorized access. In the wireless networks are considered less secure than wired networks. Somewhere that's why for very secure operation, so they don't allow the wireless connection. But you can also secure the wireless proper SSID and other things with proper encryption. You can also secure the wireless operation also. But it is less secure than the wireless, because in the wired connection you have to go physically. But in the wireless, for long distance, for within the range, you can also connect through your laptop and devices or mobile devices, or the connectivity of the network. Then after accessing, attacker can exploit his vulnerability to launch the attacks. First getting the access, and then he, after depending on motive and the objective, he can also trigger some attack to the network. So they're snipping the packet, data to steal valuable information. If it's sometime maybe computer, maybe there for espionage, they want to monitor your network packages. If you are in the defense organization or a strategic organizations are there, so your enemy countries or maybe espionage industry level also, they will try to snip the information what is passing to the network. So get information about your confidential data. Then second level is that denial of service to legitimate users. So you are a like e-auctions or any web application based organization there. So your application is running in the website. So the attacker will try to create a problem so that your legitimate users are not able to get the services. So they will flood some unwanted packages, packets, flooding that, so the original users will not be able to use those services. So that is a denial of service attacks are there. And there is also spoofing physical identities, also MAC relay or a legitimate use host, and then stealing data or further launching a man in the middle attack is there. So your data is going the session hygiene. There are different attack modes are there, and depending expertise of the hackers or these malicious users, they can trigger some of the attacks. So you need to protect your network from this type of attacks. So if you see the normal some threads on the web are there. So as I told, the integrity, that modification of user data, Trojan horse browser, modification of memory, modification of the message traffic in transit. What are the consequences? The loss of information, compromise of machines, vulnerability of all other threats. And what is the way out? You have to encrypt. The cryptographic checksums are there. So if you keep some hash value like MD5 or SHA-1, SHA-2 like this, so with that, when you send the data, along with that, you can send the checksum values. After receiving that, the receiver can check whether this data is modified in between the transition. So if you see in some of the portal for applications or software, so they also upload the hash value also, because in the portal unwanted modification may be there. So that's after downloading, you need to check the checksum values of the original package, and after downloading the package or software, you need to check that whether any modifications are take place during transitions also. So that will ensure your integrity of the data. Then confidentiality. It should not be disclosed to the unauthorized person. Eavesdropping on the net. So some people are there, so they will try to they steal your information, snipping in the network. So that eavesdropping on the net, theft of information from the server, theft of data from the client, information about the network configuration, information about which client talks to servers. So these are different threats are there, and the consequences is there the loss of information, loss of privacy. So whatever confidential privacy data that will go to the wrong hand. So what is the countermeasure? Encryptions is one of the method for very secure and very confidential data. Encryptions that so that will change the data in a cipher mode. So unintelligible format. If the this malicious user get the data, also you will not be able to get the actual information. So that is encrypted in cipher form. And also you can also use the web proxies for the protection. Then denial of service. So threads are killing of user threads, flood machines with the bogus requests, packets are there. ICP ping packets may be there, filling up disks or memory, isolating machines by the DNS attacks. There are different threats are there. And what are the consequences? The disruptive, annoying, prevent legitimate users from getting work done. If you want to work in a component network or web applications, you will not be able to do because of this denial of service attack. So very difficult to prevent, but to some extent, firewall policies, rules, and anti-DDoS devices are there. With that, you can also control to some extent the denial of service. This is one of the important criteria for web services. So this is a common format for the network architecture. That you have find these workstations are there, firewalls are there, the modems are there, internet services are there, then all servers are there, LAN connected devices are there. So this way, for going implementing the ICMS in the organization, first you need to derive the network architecture. The detail, this is the total outlay of your network devices. What are the connectivities are there, whether the load balance are there, or the firewalls are there, routers are there, switches are there. So that a glimpse of the network architecture at your the network administrator. It will be easy for him to manage the show, and at a glance you will see what is the network points are there for future improvement or amendment or modification. So this should be a control document, the network architecture. So this is a basic document required for implementing the ISMS in the organization. And also, you know that security cannot be protected in one layer of security. There are several layers are there, wayside layers are there. So different layers have their different security features are there and security applications are there. So in the topmost there is the application layer. So in that layer, we can provide the security through different application like the SMIME is there. For instead of normal mail, you can have a SMIME, the encrypted mails are there. Or instead of normal communication, if you have a PGP, encrypted communications are there. And the DNS6 are there in other protocol that layer used for exchange of the DNS queries. So that the application layer, you can have different types of security measures. So these are the different layers and the corresponding these attacks and this what are the problems are there, and accordingly you have to take care of that. At the security layer, transport layer, if you see to go to a bank site, you will sometimes you will see HTTPS, and other side you will HTTP. What is the difference between that HTTP and HTTPS? HTTPS is the protocol, the secured, that is been having a TLS certificates are there, the servers are certified, the encryption. Whenever you send your user credential like password and other things, that is the encrypted channel, that encrypted. But in the case of HTTP, the port 80 is there. In case of HTTPS, port 443 is there. So that is a clear text. Whenever you are sending your data to the portal, so that will going in a clear text format. So anybody can try to sniff your data. You will be able to get your information about the personal information. So that is not very secure. That's why you should, for very commercial transactions or very sensitive information, you should, for whether it has a HTTPS secured website. So the certificates are given by the trusted authority, like people CA certificates agency given the trusted certificate for those sites. So that is very secure. Then in the organization level, you know, so first principle, as if you go to the different domains, you have to define the different security policies are there. Well, how to implement those policies in the organization? You are given a desktop computer or laptop. You can also configure all the security parameters as per your own need and the requirement. Other person may or may not. So what is the problem? All the security policies may not be deployed in harmonized way across the organization. So that is very problematic. So that people are using the Active Directory services there, so domain controller mode. So all the system logins should be done in the domain, and there is a domain control server is there. So they frame all the security policies, like your password policies there, your auto logout functions are there, whatever security features and functions are there. So that is done central level, and that is deployed across the network. All the user has to this access to the domain controller with all the provisions are there, or the security measures are there, so that will be more safe. Other individual, if you leave it to the individual, so they may do or may not do also. So that is not giving individual wish. So but in the domain controller, the central level, all the security features, policies, and being they configured and deployed across all the network in the domain. So that is more advantageous for in the big organization, the domain controller. So there are different ADS services are there that can be done in the local level, or if you have organizations at different multi-locations are there, so maybe the control by the single location or multi-location, or the ADS controls are there. So that is for the good control of the ADS. So there are different structures are there, ADS and services are there for domain controller. The first level is the domain controller. Then in the network device, for network security, there are say different network devices are there. Like if you know, the routers are there, firewalls are there, ADS, IDS is there. So these are devices that give the security functional purpose plus also security to organization. The routers connect networks, for example, connecting a private network to an internet. In your home connectivity, you have a wireless routers are there. So that gives a connection to the external world through router. So these are the devices. Router are the layer 3 devices basically. So these are the configurations of router. So these devices need to also secured configuration also. In Kolkata ERTL, we also have a laboratory called Common Criteria Laboratory, where we also check the security features claimed by the manufacturer and what are the things are there. So before utilizing the very sensitive information, the organizations are there, they utilizing the Common Criteria certified products for their network devices. So router is one of them. The router, firewall, this IDS, IPS, switches, they use some this network operating devices, systems are there. So that has been tested and certified. So this is the sign of the router used in the network. And then next is the firewall. Firewall means basically access control devices. So this is a very most important device for the security in the organization. It controls the inbound and outbound by rules, traffic. There are so many things are there. It blocks the unwanted websites, unwanted IPs, blocks so many sites also there. So there's so many rules are there that can be configured through a firewall. The firewall inspects the traffic through it, allows traffic, especially in the policy, drops everything else. The policy के बाहर जो है that will drop. Two types of packet filters and proxies are there. You will see that in the network, internet, and the firewalls are there. It will drop the unwanted packets, only allow the which is permitted by the rule to the internal network. So there is a external, this is internal network, and in between the firewall is there. So fire guard basically to guard the only permit the only wanted signal, legitimate packets inside the network. You see that internet is the external world, internet is within the organization. This is the firewall, and DMZ zone is there. Demilitarized zone, internet host can access DMZ and internet. External host can access DMZ only, not internet. DMZ host can access internet only. Advantages is there. If a service gets compromised in DMZ, it cannot affect the internal host also. So it is sometimes problem is there, so it will be protected through firewall, but because not allowing the malicious packet inside the intranet of the organization. So this way firewall protects. So there are different configurations used for this firewall and the router in the organization for protecting the, and through proper rules are there, inbound and outbound rules are there. And there are different network security attacks as you might have heard in the newspaper or channels also there. This many different kinds of DDoS attacks are there. Scene flooding, SunMark attack, distributed DDoS attacks are there. So there are different types of attacks which create problems in the network devices. So there are different attack scenarios are there. So there are some active attacks are there, some passive attacks are there. So passive means only sniffing your data, not doing actually actively, but in active attacks it will create problem in operation. You will not be able to work, like giving some virus or your denial of service is there. So that will very difficult to work also. That type of attacks are there. Active attacker actively manipulates the communication, masquerade when he impersonation, a person in a man in the middle attack, he will distort your information, pretend as someone else within the known, possibility to get more privileges. A replay attack passively captures data and send later also. Modified data can be sent later. Denial of service prevention the normal use of servers, end users, or network itself. So that type of problems are there in the network attacks. So there are so many attacks are there, attack scenarios are there. So as the technology advances, these people also, they are changing the mode of attacks to basically decepting, and the social engineering also they're trying to escalate it sometimes also their method of attacks also. And there is important attack surface. Meaning which are the doors open for carrying out the attack. That's why as a security measures for the firewall, whichever services, whichever ports are required, only keep those ports open. Other ports you should close it only. Only your application ports should open. Other unnecessary ports should not be open. Because if you see your house, if you keep more openings are there, so these are the vulnerable points are there. So attacker will try to penetrate through those vulnerable points are there. So you have to keep those open the ports or closed which are not being used. Services available in a firewall, code that process the XML, email, XML, or sometimes links are there. Now, if you click the email, so that will have execute some program, or you never know how to redirect some places, and you will create some problem. You can install some unwanted virus and softwares. So that will create problems, interfaces and web forms also. So that creates some problem in the surface attacks are there. So that's why for any website certification, we also carrying out the input validation of the web forms. What are the dynamic forms are there? So SQL injections are there. Through that, the malicious attacker can introduce some attacks in the sites, as some defacing attack or any maliciously content may be uploaded in that these websites also. So these are the different attack surfaces through mail or websites or code or like this they can introduce. So there are different attack surfaces like network attack surface, software attack surfaces. They give you some codes and you click it. And then also one of the important human attack surface, because they will give some packages, the offers are there, lotteries are there. If you go to a trap, they will exploit you also inside. And sometimes also the insider may be a traitor also. They can also be disgruntled employees are there. So they can be use a human attack surface maybe there. They can exploit the company resources also. So that's why there should be proper training and proper precautions should be there. And one of the requirement IDS intrusion detection system. So that way, whenever some malicious packets are there, you will through the IDS system, it will inspect the packet. If it is not legitimate, it gives immediate policy violations. They give the alert. So this is called intrusion detection system. If someone is trying to for blocked IPs or by like your system only applicable Indian IPs are there. So if someone tries to access your system from external other than the Indian origin, so they will try to access, and this will be reported. So how many access attempts are made in your these devices or in log, so that has to be devised, and through this security information management tools are there, so that you can get the information of this type of access attempts. So all these are IDS. Then the IPS is there, intrusion prevention system. If some malicious packets are there, so that will be dropped at the gate level. So that if the malicious packets are there, which is not allowed as per the rules and regulations or the firewall policies, so that will drop at the gate. So these are the, as I initially told, denial of attack. So the perpetrator is there, and through his email or he gets some information and tries to send some mail, and these are the devices send a echo, and this is a victim. So these systems are there. They will send the echo request to this victim machine. So multiple echoes will there. So this machine will not be able to work. This is called the denial of service attack. Then the one thing is important is authentication. Actually, if you see that network or any devices, there are three things are there: identification, authentication, and authorization. So these are very important things are there. Identification means who is the person, like user ID. Then how to establish his credential is through authentication. There are different means and mechanism of authentication. One is the most common and popular is the password or PIN based authentication is there. So one type of fact, if you give you username and if you give PIN, it system will accept. It's called one factor authentication. For better security, system demand more authentication credentials are required. So you can give some your, along with the password, you can give a fingerprint. So this is a two-way authentication, two-factor authentication. Maybe system demands more security, multi-factor authentication, password, biometric, and then also your software token also, token-based authentication. There are different, depending on the type of application use, you can increase the number of authentication to be sure he is the correct person whom you are allowing to access your system and resources. The authentication is the mechanism by checking that credential of the person who is claiming that user, because in the network the computer is not able to see who other end who is there. Only through the authentication data or credential you can also identify the persons through this credentials of their user ID or by this password, PIN, or smart card, or whatever way. So you have to identify the correct persons here or not. So that is the authentication. So these are the different authentication devices. This fingerprint device, smart card devices, pen drives are there, these soft tokens are there, RSA tokens are there. Even also signature, voice, there are different mechanisms through where you can one can identify the we are allowing the correct person in the organization or access to the resources. Then is the authorization. What is authorization? Basically, is the access control, which access privileges are giving. We are giving the access and to what role, which group, which location, which time. So these are the different authorization he is having. The granting the user access to particular resource and what. He may not be getting all the resources, only he will be limited resources. This is called access control. Whatever privileges you have been granted to the normal user, administrative user, even also organization ERP is there. So there are different departments are there. So different authorizations there. The billing section is different authorization. The account section may be different authorization. HR may be different authorizations there. So that it depends on the role and groups. So that he is only limited authorization to work in that area. So that is authorization. In the system level, you can give to authorize or granting access in a particular zone only. And for this remote access of the radios and trackers are there for the these devices are connected to the remotely, but through trackers and these protocols are there used for network devices. And nowadays also Like there are different authentication service providers are there. Like UIDI is a authentication service provider. If you go to some bank and other thing, you have given your username and Aadhaar card, so that identity will be proved from their database services. So this is called authentication service provider. This is called federated identity provider is there. So that is a with the third party service provider, they can establish and trust that you are the correct person because whose authentication is there through biometric. When you give me the biometric number, Aadhaar card number, or giving your finger impression, your authentication will be proved from the other database, and it will if it matches to their database data, it will give a yes. Then the bank transactions or whatever transactions there, then allow it. So this is called federated identity provider. And if you see that the standard ISMS 27001, so the 13 is the domain for the network control and communication control. So requirement is that networks shall be managed and controlled to protect information systems and applications. So in your organization, you have different systems are there, hardware devices, systems are there, and different applications also they are running, and different websites also running there. So you need to protect your systems, network devices, hardware, servers are there, and also your different applications. Web-based applications are there, maybe client-based applications maybe there, websites maybe there, static, dynamic, different types of applications are running for the business purpose. So operation responsive for networks should be separated from computer operations. Establish responsibilities and management of remote equipment whenever you want to remotely connect, because in the case of this working from home, you have been given the VPN connectivity. So if you are working from your house, so how to connect your company resources, organization resources, you have been granted a VPN channel. So that is basically a encrypted channel. If you communicate through that channel, so that will be encrypted. So nobody will be able to sniff the data across that. So that is a trust is building into the network through VPN connectivity. So special guard to the confidentiality and integrity of data passing over the public networks. Internet is a public network, and the companies or organization is allowing through that public network to access their internal resources. So they have to ensure first the channel is encrypted and the user is properly authenticated, whether correct, whether the same employee or if it's outsider, is the malicious attackers or not, that has to be ensured before giving the access to the outsiders who is outside the office campus. So the remote control. Network monitors to detect attacks and analyze traffic. So there should be a mechanism to monitor the different network traffic control. Restricted routing to specific network addresses only through router this firewall rules. Access control allowed to only authorized users also. So proper access control mechanism installed, who is having the which privileges are there, so that has to be ensured. Encryption of transmitted data to retain the confidentiality, that is why VPN connectivity is given for the access from the work from home situation. So these are the requirement. So requirement, you see the standard control statement, the security mechanism, service level management requirements. Of all network services shall be identified and included in the network services agreements, whether these services are provided in-house or outsourced. Sometimes your network services have been outsourced by the external party also. That way, you have to make a service level agreement with the party. Managed service providers are there. Now the business pay category has changed. The external agencies provide the services. So you have a very comprehensive RFP and agreement with those parties to recognize all the identification, all the risk assessment first. Then identify the security features there, and then you have to sign the agreement. What are the features and security management is there? We have to agreed by the third party service provider. The regular monitoring and audit on the ability of the network service provider also, you have to regularly audit their capability and the performance you have to monitor. Then control set when groups of information services, users and information systems shall be segregated on network. They're very important. If you have been a organized and there are different departments are there, and if you have a single flat LAN, so what is the problem? If somehow the network get contaminated or corrupted by virus, the entire network immediately will be corrupted. All the network devices will be corrupted immediately. One problem. And also, if you have a flat network, all the communication is broadcasted to all the nodes. Anybody can, if you install the software, he can collect the packets and get all the information, unwanted information. So that's why you should have a segregation of network. You call VLAN, virtual private network, VLAN, virtual LANs are there. So through that, you have like in ERP systems are there, you have a HR section is different, billing section is different, material management section is different, so that different localized LAN may be configured with the network, so isolated, so that anybody cannot jump into others network to get his information. So that is one of the important criteria to be followed for the segregation of the networks. Either physically or virtually you can segregate the network. So these are the different virtual local area network. The same LAN is distributed in different LAN configuration. So depending on type of organization, type of activity, type of ERP, or you have to make a separate VLANs are there. So depending on type of activity, you have to configure this VLANs. Then I told initially for the VPN is that how it is working. So employees there, you're sitting in your house during the lockdown period and you're accessing the company resources. So the employees VPN clients is there, encrypted VPN connection via the internet. So whatever is there, you have a broadband connection. So the public network, anybody can connect and snip your packet. So that's why that's a VPN connectivity is the VPN clients is there, company VPN client is there, and this total channel is encrypted. You cannot, and no one can access your information. So this is the tunnel. The VPN tunnel is there. So whenever you connect from your house to the internet, from your house in the internet public domain, and this internet within the organization, your internet resources are there, servers are there, resources database, the application servers are there, and through this network we are connected. So this is VPN. It's a very important activity for in the working from home and virtual VPN work network. So as we when you get connected, so as you be within the network, you are giving the same LAN value so that you can all the resources depending on access or privileges, you can get all the information or server file server access to this VPN connection. So now there are different information transfers policies are there. There is always the risk when the information or software are sent to other organization as those may not be looked after the way you want. So whenever you use the information transfer, what are the different mechanisms are there from one organization to another? You can send through email. One is the way. You can send to the FTP or SFTP. You can send through instant messaging, or there are different mechanisms and now the WhatsApps are there, social medias are there. You can send the message to that also. So whether it is secured or not, you have to take care of that. Establishment of the formal policy of data transfer, whether you will allow the public domain or not, whether you will allow the social sites or not. So that is depending on your type of activity. You have to preventing all those things in your organization security policies. Information state transfer policies and procedures to be established. Agreements on information transfer, because sometimes your information need to be very secure. That's why the PGP channels are being used. Whatever the information are being sent, that is the encrypted form. Only that's why there is a public PKI infrastructure is there. The sender and receiver send their public key, and the sender encrypt with the private key, and the receiver only can decrypt. Nobody can decrypt his file. That is PGP encryption are there. Electronic messaging, confidentiality or non-disclosure agreement. Sometimes you need to design agreement. What are the way or mechanism for transferring the information? In some of the defense are very secret organizations and they don't allow this. They only giving the physical transfer data through in person also. They don't believe in this public domain also. In also government department, they don't believe in that web mails also. The only you can transfer the data through only NIC or gov.mail जो है, that can be transferred, not in the normal public domain mail. So depending on the policy, you have to use the systems for the data exchanging. So formal transfer policies should be there. Procedures and controls should be in place to protect the transfer of information through the use of all types of communication facilities available. Protection of transferred information from interception, copying, modification, misrouting, corruption by malicious codes, and destruction, to be in line with the acceptable use policy also. So actually that is given by the acceptable use policy organization. If you see that ISN's policy, there is a on requirement of the acceptable use policy, that all the resources are there, internet policy, that email policy is there. So that will be in line with that. What are the resources available and how you can use that resources for the business purpose. That should be depicted, described in the acceptable use policy. Then consideration of risks of wireless communication, as I told initially, whether you allow the wireless communication or not in the organization, that is to be depicted in the policy. Details the user, contractors responsibility. Sometimes you need to work with the stakeholders like contractors are there, AMC suppliers are there. How much you can give it, whether you can give the emails or access to them or not, that has to be framed in the policies. Use of cryptographic techniques to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity of information. So that should be done to the VPN channel also. Use of various voice and video communication. This is very important nowadays. After this pandemic situation, you are carrying out the video conference modes are there. So there are different these systems available. So whether those applications safe for VC or not, when you are doing the public domain using those systems, whether security implications are there or not, you have to assess first. Then you can use it for your confidential business meetings. Use of fax equipment and network printers for sensitive documents. Sometimes if you send fax, other end who is receiving you may not be knowing also. So that's the restrictions also there in the policy also. Very sensitive information don't send in fax communication. When other end is open-ended, you never know who is whose hand it is going there. Agreement on information transfer. Agreement should address the secure transfer of business information between the organization and the external parties. So that agreement has to be reached with both parties agreement. Electronic messaging I already told. Then there is a requirement for network monitoring, because the network administrator need to know what is the information passing to the network tomography, how the network is distributed, end-to-end connection, route analytics, what is the packets are going, what is the structure of that, so that is there. So that different network monitoring tools are available to discover, map, monitor, alert, and report. These are called network monitoring tools are there. The common tools are there like this to give the network administrator. Huge networks is there. So it's very impossible for the network administrator to know at which point, at which node the problems has come up. So through this network monitoring tool, he will know what is the traffic position, whether some problem is there, so that we indicate to the network administrator immediately. And this type of report also available through the tool. So through the NMS tool, so you can get the off-the-hand information about the network status at this point of time through mapping and this table of record. So then the network log monitoring, this is very, very important. Whenever any activity being done, whether the activity can be monitored or logged, if you want to investigate some information. So who did it and what time. So this can be done through the logging of the system. Then also there is requirement of confidentiality or non-disclosure agreement also signed mostly when you engage some third-party supplier, MSPs are there, you need to sign an agreement with them. So that will give the legal binding to them so that you cannot do any malicious activity. And then technical vulnerability analysis also that if you see the domain 18, the technical compliance is there. So actually, if you see that these network devices, firewall, router, they run with a iOS. That operating systems are there. So when it is released with some available information and background knowledge and the skill are there, but there are some problems that crop up during a time. So they also fix up those problems are there. So this is called you need to do the vulnerability analysis continuous basis also. So to patch up those problem areas, the vulnerability analysis you need to carry out on regular basis. VA and PT is important. Vulnerability analysis of the network devices on regular basis. There are different tools available like NESAS tools are there. You can scan the network devices to know what are the vulnerable points inside there. And there are CB records are there. Common vulnerability exposure reports are there. So it will indicate these are the reported vulnerability is there. So accordingly they will give a guard and protect those areas so that it cannot create problem in the organization. And the patch management of network operating systems and applications. Whenever it will release after 1 year or 6 months, the company also gets some problem fixing and they also release some patches. So those need to be updated in your system regular basis. And penetration testing because to expect after this initial scanning, you get some vulnerable areas are there. Whether those areas can be exploited by the external agency or not, so that will ensure to the penetration testing. Not doing any harm to the organization, but to what extent the attacker can go and do some harms. That is a simulation of that. So that is a penetration testing. You have to application level or system level to remotely. You can check it to the penetration testing. So then there is a requirement of business continuity measurement because sometimes it's beyond our control sometimes because national disasters are there, man-made problems may be there, but you have given a SLA to deliver the services with a particular 99% availability. How do you ensure that? So that should be a disaster management scheme. And also your system should be robust enough. And also there should be regular backup arrangement. All the network devices, their configurations, other things are there in the backup storage is there. So in case of any problem, you can immediately restore from those backup to the normalcy. So that is the BCP arrangement. So first you have to backup and restore on regular basis for the practice. Redundancy in network devices. So that's why in the network architecture level, you have to design your topology of the network devices such that if one device fail, other will take care of that. So that's why firewall, router, load balancer should be managed in a manner in a redundant mode. If one fail, other will take care immediately without intervention. So that is the depending on the type of how much recovery time you should afford to give. So depending on that, you have to make the redundancy arrangement in terms of ISP provider. Like internet side, one is not able to deliver the services. You have a secondary one is there. Your power supply is not working is there. Your secondary supply is there. So that you make a system robust in case of some situation. Your system will be able to deliver the performance as before. So that is a robustness and that is ensured to the BCP planning and BCP testing. Then there is a requirement of endpoint security because you know this work from home situation, you are giving the laptops are there or desktops are there. So whether the endpoint security being ensured in the devices or not, that is important because whether your antivirus are being updated regular basis, your security patches are being updated on whether this endpoint this encryptions are there or not. So this is done to the endpoint security management. So the virus software which has inbuilt advanced endpoint security features and even used in the purpose, this part provides 7 layers of security inclusive of the reputation and an auto sandboxing, web filtering, antivirus software, and firewall. So these endpoint applications come with so many multi-purpose facilities. If you have in the laptop having this endpoint security, you will be more safe. Then there is a requirement of data loss prevention, because this is an ongoing concern also there. So there could be a leakage or exploitation of the information from the organization to the external world. So there should be mechanism to stop that. In the architecture level, it should be deployed if in the employee passing the very critical information or very patented information to external world, so that will be protected and prevented through DLP technology. Like in the organization that who are dealing with that commercial transactions, the bank number, the PAN number, the other numbers are there. So it will, the keywords are there. Through that, it will protect. It will not, if it tries to send also through that DLP, it will protect it at the network level. So it will not allow to leave the organization that sensitive information. So that is a DLP technology, data loss prevention technology. And last one, not the least, is the network time protocols is there, because when you are working in the organization, you need to be synchronized with respect to time. So there are different time protocols are there. You have to synchronize that NTP. So as I told initially, the network architecture diagram, network layout diagram, switch port allocation diagram, vulnerability assessment report, and network devices, network change control records are there, and information transfer policies are so many requirements are there. If you go through the standard, so you need to make the first the policy level, then you are in the procedural level, then at the implementation you have to keep the records for implementation purpose, and that will be useful for the demonstration during the certification and auditing. So you have to go through the standard, and depending on your type of organization, first frame the policy, then the procedure, then you have to make the record in compliance to that activity. So that will be useful for the certification purpose. So thank you very much, Mr. Parvez and Mr. Naresh.
Yes, sir. We can break for lunch, sir.
So from my side, I have completed. If you have any question, you please ask me, or you can park the question or email to me. I can also give answer later on also. Hello. Shall you close the session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.